Yeah, so sure. Yeah, I'll get started. So just so everybody knows that this is being recorded, not like you probably aren't prompted when you sign in. So we will record it and it will be distributed afterwards. So if anybody has any questions or if anybody knows of anybody who wants more information on it, we can, there'll be a link, it'll be on YouTube. Also, this particular session is set up as a meeting. I did that intentionally so that everybody could ask questions at the end. But for the most part, you're going to be muted throughout the meeting. So don't get offended if somebody just automatically mutes you because somebody's been instructed to do that, just so that the speakers can speak kind of uninterrupted to start, and then we'll take questions at the end. So not to worry, you'll be unmuted when we get to that. So we have a couple of speakers, and Deanna from Dreamforce, woohoo, has volunteered to come and speak to us about prizing. So we're so thankful for that. So just 1 second, I do have yeah, there. So introducing Deanna, who's our country manager at Tableau Software. So thank you so much for coming and speaking to us.
Of course, no problem. Thanks for having me. As Candace mentioned, I'm reporting live from the Canada Lodge at Dreamforce, which is a meeting ground for all Canadian customers in all industries and all sizes. So it's been an action-packed week, and it's been nice to see customers face-to-face. Really excited about this VIZ competition. As mentioned, I'm the country manager for Tableau Canada, and we have a few different objectives in here. It's to kind of socialize the value and the talent that we have around data within Canada, to increase the awareness around Tableau. And really exciting is we've got some fun prizes and awards for those who are participating. So every participant will be receiving a custom VIZ Canada t-shirt. So we're excited about that. And then the grand prize for the ultimate winner will get a free pass to Tableau conference next year. Yeah, round of applause. So really excited about everyone joining this call and expressing interest in participating. We're really excited about this, and if it goes well, we'd like to repeat this year over year. And looking forward to seeing all the incredible submissions and awarding the winner at the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much to Tableau for being generous and helping us with this competition. They have helped in many ways other than just the prizing. They've been very supportive with judges. There's a lot of people that have come forward to judge and to mentor people too. So thank you so much to Tableau for helping us out. And thank you to Deanna and her team for being really supportive in the organization of it as well. Okay. So we're going to move on. To Dima. So Dima has been instrumental in getting this going. It's just for a little background. She's the one that really got this all kind of kicked off. She and Kirk met at a function in June, and she's like, well, we're organizing this at Wolseley, so why don't we just organize it for the whole country? Why don't we just roll this out? It'll be easy, she said. No, but Dima has been very positive, and she's been such a cheerleader through this whole process, and super excited to be working with her. But she's going to explain a lot of the details about how to compete, and she has a viz to show about for everybody's reference. So over to you.
Thank you, Candy.
Whoops.
Hi, everybody. Let me just share my screen.
Yep.
Okay, so hi everybody, bonjour à tous, if there are any French speakers on the call. I'm so happy to be here today and to talk to you about the first edition of the Canada VIZ Games and the three simple, easy, easy is the word that I always repeat for this challenge. So the three simple steps to participate. If you forget anything I say today, it's okay. Everything's summarized in this viz that you see in front of you. And it can be found on Tableau Public. If you don't have the link, you can search on Tableau Public, Canada VIZ Games 2022, and you'll see all the visualizations that are related to this viz, including our countdown. So the Canada VIZ Games Challenge is happening from September 26th, so next Sunday at midnight, to October 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So all times are Eastern. The first thing you need to do to be able to participate is create a Tableau public account. So down here, number one, make a Tableau public account. This literally takes only a couple of minutes and it's super easy. The reason why we ask you to create a Tableau public account is because the visualization you create for the challenge must be saved on Tableau public to be eligible. So if it's not saved on Tableau public, we won't receive it as an eligible viz for the challenge. Now, once you've created an account, I recommend you download the free public edition of Tableau Desktop. If you already have Tableau Desktop, you don't need the public edition. You can use the Tableau Desktop that you have. And you can save your visualizations to Tableau Public using either version of Tableau Desktop. Another option is to create your visualization directly on the web by signing into Tableau Public on the site directly, but I find it a bit more practical to use the Tableau Desktop version. That's step number one. Step number two, what you'll need. So the second step is to connect to the data. So the data set will be available on September 26th at midnight. All you must do to access the data is click on the data set bubble here. So right now it says available on September 26th at midnight, but at midnight on September 26th Eastern time, when you click on this data set bubble, it will lead you to a page where you'll have the link to the data set and the details of the requirements. You then have, so 1 week from September 26th midnight to October 2nd, 11:59 to work on your visualization. So this is your chance to show the skills you have and make your visualization great. The visualization will be judged on 3 criteria: design, storytelling, and analysis. And if ever you forget what those 3 criteria are, we have a FAQ button here, link, where we have our frequently asked questions, and one of them is what will be the criteria for judging the viz. And it's those 3 things. So design, how the visualization looks; the storytelling, so does it tell you an overall story; and analysis, so is there like a hypothesis that's proven or disproven; and just data analytics. Finally, you must submit your visualization on Tableau Public no later than October 2nd at 11:59 p.m. So you have to make sure that your visualization is saved to Tableau Public by that date and time. So there's a stamp on the visualization when you do save it on Tableau Public. And there's there's a stamp also for additional changes. So make sure you don't make any additional changes afterwards, because any updates afterwards will make your visualization not eligible for the challenge. So really make sure that you do submit your viz before that date and time, October 2nd, 11:59. So once you've submitted your visualization on Tableau Public, you'll have to fill out a submission form. The link can also be found in this viz. So here, there's a link to submission form. The submission form will help us locate your visualization and ensure that you are entered in the competition. So it's a very simple form, and it just asks for your name, the link to the viz, and the name of the viz, just to make sure that we do have the correct one. And finally, let's look at our schedule. So as mentioned, the actual challenge runs from September 26th to October 2nd. So here, the data is available on September 26th at midnight, and then the challenge runs until October 2nd at 11:59. However, the games will officially end on November 9 when the grand prize winner is announced. So between October 2nd and November 9, we have other judging rounds. So On October 12th, company winners will be submitted. So every company will have their judges and they will do their internal competition and they'll select their top winner. So those winners will be submitted on October 12th. And in the open category, so participants that are not linked to any company, they will be judged and the winner will be declared on October 13 at noon. And finally, on October 26 at 5 p.m., we'll announce the 3 finalists from all the companies and the open category winner. So the 3 finalists from all the submissions on October 26 at 5 p.m. And finally, November 9, we have our live finale and announcement of the Canada VIZ 2022 winner. So that's gonna be on November 9 at 1 p.m. So hopefully everyone that has participated to the games will join this call, this live finale, and the 3 finalists will get to present their visualization that they've ran with throughout the competition. And then we'll choose the winner during the call. So that will be very exciting. Everyone will have their nice t-shirts and we'll create a nice Canadian VIZ event on November 9th. So that's it for the schedule. We're really excited. So like I said, it's really simple, the 3 steps, and the data set will be given to you. You really have 1 week to showcase your visualization, and this visualization, you don't have to rework between October 2nd to November 9. It will stay with you throughout the competition. So yeah, that's it.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Dima. And as well, just a quick reminder that we can take questions at the end if anybody has any questions about the schedule or the rollout of it. Yeah, so we'll leave that till then. But in the meantime, I will just present my screen just quickly. To introduce Sarah. So lots of you probably know Sarah Bartlett. We're very honored to have Sarah Bartlett here today with us. She's like Tableau royalty. I know you're British, but I hope that's not offensive, but she is our own royalty. So she's a visionary, which was formerly called a Zen master. She founded the Iron Quest. So she has a lot of experience in this area, and we're very thrilled that she was able to come and speak to us today about you know, what you can get out of participating in a competition like this. She has a lot of experience with them, and she can tell you how much fun it's going to be for you. So I will stop sharing and pass over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Candice. It's really excited to be here today. Let me share my screen. Hopefully you can see that okay. I'm going to turn my camera off just because I'm presenting on multiple screens, so I won't be looking at you. But yeah, so I'm going to talk to you about why you should enter VIZ Games. So really excited about VIZ Games. And a lot of what I'm going to share today is based upon the Tableau Iron Viz competition, which kind of mirrors VIZ Games in the feeder kind of category. But let's get straight into it. So my name's Sarah Bartlett, as Candy said. I think you already gave a brief overview of me and what I do, but I work at Red Hat as a Tableau enablement consultant, where I work on enabling our global community of Tableau users. I'm a free-time Tableau visionary. I'm currently a Tableau ambassador, and I'm a public ambassador, and I've been an ambassador for 5 years, which makes me feel really old. And I'm a co-leader of the London Tableau user group. If you want to find me on social media or my blog, I've got my links at the bottom there, but I'm pretty much Sarah Loves Data everywhere. I've been using Tableau Public for most of my Tableau journey. A few of my VIZs are shown here. A lot of these are from participating in Makeover Monday. So Makeover Monday is a popular project within the Tableau community. It was on hiatus, but it's just come back recently in the last couple of weeks, which is really exciting. So I think all the ones on the left are Makeover Monday entries. The one on Stormzy was one I just kind of challenged myself to do over a Christmas break. I'm a big fan of Stormzy. He's a rapper from the UK. And I thought I'd just do a visualization about his music. And then the viz on the right is a viz on how to explore European cities on a budget. And I built this viz back in 2018 as a feeder kind of viz for the Tableau VIZ competition in Europe. And this viz got me into the final. So I actually participated live on stage in London at the Tableau conference. When I did this viz, I had no idea I was going to make it into the final. I purely did it just because I had some time and I thought I'd use it as a learning exercise. So, and that kind of like set the trajectory for me and my career. So following that experience, I launched the project IronQuest, as Candice mentioned. So IronQuest is based upon the VIZ feeder competitions in the sense that we set a different topic each month, and each month it's completely different. And we ask people to go away and actually find data on that topic and build visualizations for those topics as they would a Tableau VIZ feeder competition. And then at the end of the month, I will work with some co-hosts of the project to provide feedback on those visits where people have asked for it. So it's a really great way to practice for competitions like VIZ Games or VIZ. Even if you have no intention of ever entering, it's still a really fun project to be a part of. In addition to that, in my professional background, I've been working in analytics for 14 years in different types of data, but not always with Tableau. I started out by using Excel, then moved to Tableau about 8 years ago, and I didn't look back. I've had 4 years of working as a consultant using Tableau, and then most recently, as I mentioned before. I have judged VIZ multiple times, so I've got experience in the sense of what judges are looking for these types of competitions, and also where people tend to kind of go wrong. I think, as Dina mentioned, we obviously covered what VIZ Games are, but essentially it's a visualization contest given the opportunity to compete with other data rock stars from across Canada, which is really, really exciting. I really love competitions like these. And as Dina mentioned, the scoring criteria will cover 3 areas. So design, storytelling, and analysis, which is the same scoring criteria that they have for VIZ. With each of these 3 things, there's this, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but there's some things to bear in mind and think about what the judges might be looking for. So when it comes to design, the judges will be looking for like something that's designed logically, and it's designed well, it's functional, it's accessible, accessible, and that is clean and simple to use. With storytelling, looking for things like having a natural flow in your visualization, so making sure that the story is placed in or the visualization is placed in a logical order. So you'll have like an introduction and maybe then the main body of the viz, and then a conclusion, maybe a call to action, depending on what the data set's about. And then with an
sorry to interrupt, Sarah, but
yeah,
your connection kind of cut out a little bit there. So I don't know if you want to go back just a minute or two, just to explain what the judges are looking for, I think is mainly what we missed.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not sure if you heard me go through design, but I was saying with design, thinking about accessibility and making sure that just the designs are accessible, your colors are accessible, and the design is functional. With storytelling, just making sure that your viz is placed in a logical order and it flows in a natural kind of pattern as well. So you'd typically have an introduction section, the main body, maybe a conclusion or a call to action, depending on the type of data you're working with. Storytelling, you can really add your viz by adding things like annotations in. So maybe there's a peak in the data, maybe just calling out that peak and what's causing the data to peak at that point. And then with analysis, things that can be really powerful to add to your analysis, things like reference lines, or really like showing the data, not just as the data itself, but adding to it, and anything you can do to really bring that analysis to life will really help you in that area. So why should you enter? So the obvious reason would be you want to win loads of prizes and you want the glory, but that's not why we're here today. I mean, those are great, but not everyone can win. So I want to cover some things that you may not have considered around why you should enter. So I'm going to break these down into different categories. But number 1 is to challenge yourself. So these competitions are great if you really want to push yourself out of your comfort zone and try new things. So I know for me personally, when I've entered VIZ, I have really tried to try new techniques and use it as an opportunity to try something that typically I wouldn't necessarily be comfortable doing, or I wouldn't do every day at work, perhaps. And also it's a really great way of practicing working to a deadline. So with VIZ Games, you're going to have 1 week, which isn't very long, to actually complete this challenge. So I found that a lot of people, when entering competitions like these, they like to kind of time box themselves and break that week down or that time period down into different sections. So maybe you'll spend a day kind of cleaning the data, getting familiar with the data, another couple of days maybe planning your visualization and finding that story, and then the rest of the time putting that visualization together. Maybe you'll have some time at the end for just testing and making sure everything works as it should. But really, I'd say use it as an opportunity to try something new and step out of your comfort zone. It is a really great opportunity to do that. It's also a great opportunity to improve your skills. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I entered IMVIZ Europe in 2018 as a way just to try new things and improve my skills. And I certainly did that. I learned a lot. And it really was a great experience. So I think with competitions like these, it is great for you to, it's a great opportunity for you to try and put tutorials into practice. So as you probably know, if you're involved in the Tableau community, there's a ton of content out there. You have like lots of blog posts and videos and lots of kind of how-tos everywhere, just almost too many. And I often bookmark things to say, oh yeah, I'll come back to that later and learn how to kind of build this radial or something. And you know how it is that often we don't have the time and it kind of never happens. But it's competitions like these where you really do have that opportunity to try out something new and actually put those skills into practice. So, and through doing that, you'll learn new things. Maybe the data will lend itself to some particular analysis where you get to try out new techniques as well. So maybe something different to what you'd usually be doing in Tableau at work, perhaps. These competitions are also a great way to make new connections. So they give you an opportunity to meet everyone on this call, everyone organising the games, but also maybe meet some potential new employers. So I'd definitely say use this opportunity to connect with other participants. There's a lot of people, out there working in Tableau. They may, live locally to you. You never know. And it is a great way to meet new authors across Canada. Your work will be published in Tableau Public. So through doing that, you might make new connections there. New people may follow you. You can find other people that are participating and follow them. And as I said before, it's a great way to get your work noticed and perhaps connect with potential employers and really showcase your work to them. And one thing I always recommend with competitions like these is to seek feedback on your work. So I know you haven't got much time with the week turnaround, but perhaps in the last couple of days, if you do have a visit, I would recommend just reaching out to a few people or one or two people just to ask for feedback. So it could be maybe a colleague, could even be someone that doesn't even work in data, perhaps a partner or a friend. Just show this to them, just get their feedback on it. Does it flow in a logical way, or have they got any suggestions on how you could make it better? I'm so passionate about this topic. I actually launched a feedback initiative about 2 years ago now for IMVIZ, where people could come and book sessions with us to actually provide feedback on their visualizations. And it was this year in IMVIZ, all 3 finalists actually requested feedback via that process. So it was really great to see them all on stage. It really goes to show the power of feedback. So if you do have the opportunity to get feedback, please do. I think it will really, really help to improve your designs. Another thing you can use this opportunity for is to stand out and get noticed. So through participating in a project like this, you can use it as an opportunity to expand your data viz project portfolio. I know personally that I have a lot of unfinished projects. And I think with this project being just 1 week long, you're really kind of time boxed and you're forced to kind of get that work completed in a week to make sure that you can enter. So it is a really great way to ensure that you can have something to add to your portfolio. And it's always good to build out that portfolio whenever you can. Your work will be published on Tableau Public because that's a requirement of the competition. So that automatically puts you in the running to getting your work featured. So it might be featured in some Tableau Public galleries. You may even get a visit of the day. So even if you don't win VIZ Games, your work may be featured in other ways. And it would be great if you could use it as an opportunity to write maybe a blog post about the experience and share that with the audiences as well. So even if you don't have a blog, you could perhaps write a post on LinkedIn and talk about like how you got involved and what you learned through the process, and then use it as an opportunity to share your work. I know personally from taking this approach, I've been able to reach new audiences. So people that aren't necessarily involved in data, but they're interested in the topic that I've been visualizing. And that's led to new opportunities for me, certainly. So I'd really recommend you to use your work to get it featured wherever you can. And in line with that, I'd say definitely share your work on social media. So whatever platform you use, whether that's LinkedIn or Twitter or even Instagram, go ahead and share your work and show people what you've done. It's very common in the Tableau community for people to share and kind of shout from the rooftops about the work they've published. I've got an example of a tweet here from a few years back from Hesham, who entered VIZ, actually went on to win the competition. And this was his feeder entry, but definitely use it as an opportunity to share your work wherever you can. And as I said before, there's plenty of Tableau public galleries where work will be automatically added in. So these aren't necessarily visitor days, but Tableau will look for work that aligns to a particular topic and add them to these galleries on a regular basis. So it's another great way to get your work featured. And lastly, I want to say have fun. You know, it's supposed to be fun. VIZ Games is a really great opportunity to have some fun with Tableau and enjoy it. So definitely don't see this as a chore. Make sure it's fun and make sure you make it as fun as you can. You know, it's supposed to be a fun experience. And just remember, I think quite often people can get a little nervous about these things. But remember, you are entering for you and nobody else. You're entering so you can create something new, to learn something new, perhaps, to have fun and to challenge yourself. And there's a little tagline that I've stolen from VIZ there, but you win or you learn, you can't lose. And I really stand by that. And before I go, I just want to bust some myths that are commonly you hear around these type of competitions. So some excuse a lot of people come up with sometimes is, I'm not a Tableau expert, therefore, you know, I can't enter. Or I won't get anywhere if I do. And that's just complete nonsense. You know, I've seen a lot of people who aren't Tableau experts by any means. Maybe they've only been using the tool for less than a year, who've gone on to win maybe VIZ, which is the biggest data visualization competition in the world. As I've got a couple of examples here of people that hadn't been using the tool very long, but then got their work featured or even went on to win the competition. So by no means is it that you need to have been using Tableau for a certain amount of time before you can enter VIZ Games. There's another one. There's no point of entering because I don't think I'll win. Again, it doesn't matter. It's about winning. It's about taking part and just using it as an opportunity to improve your fun. I often compare this kind of stance with entering. Like typically you don't enter a marathon to win unless you're like a complete professional. You enter a marathon because of the challenge, because of the joy of taking part. So it's very much like that. So don't let that put you off. And finally, I can't find a data set. Now, in this case, I don't think that's going to be an issue because Dina is providing a data set for you. So it can sometimes be a blocker to some, but in this case, I think you're good there. So lastly, I just want to say good luck to everyone entering. I'm really excited to come to see the entries that you come up with, and hopefully I'll get a chance to check back in with you further on in the competition. But thank you for having me today. I really appreciate you inviting me to speak at this event. And if anyone wants to contact me, my contact details are on the screen there. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them now.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, thanks so much. So I guess if anybody wants to unmute themselves and ask Sarah a question, we can do it now, or I just have one more slide after this, just with a few more details, but.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Would we be able to use supporting data sources in the VIZ? Like, for example, if the data source has data across maybe provinces, could we add like a spatial file data source that has a geometry for each province?
Yes, that's a question for Dima and Candice.
Yeah, I can answer that. Hi. All the requirements will be on the link for the data set on September 26th at midnight. So you'll get those. There's like mandatory requirements and optional ones. So all that information will be given to everybody at once at that time. So you'll have all your answers there.
Awesome. Thank you.
I take it there's no more questions, so I'll stop sharing.
Oh, I do have a question.
Oh, okay.
I raised my hand. Hi, Sarah, thank you for that presentation. I'm sorry, I missed the first few minutes, so this may be a dumb question that you've already covered, but are we just allowed to use Tableau? And what I'm referring to is like, could we use Figma as part of the design to pull into Tableau if we wanted?
I think again, it's a question for Dima and the team.
So can you, I guess the question is, can you supplement with Figma?
To produce a background image that we could bring into Tableau.
Right.
Yeah, you could use a background.
Yeah. I think the point is that as long as it's in Tableau and published to Tableau, yeah. You're just adding things.
Yeah.
I guess we can clarify that perhaps in the details when we send out the data. When we send out the details for the data set, we'll clarify that as well. Yeah. I do have one more slide of just a few more bits of information. Yes, so I will just present that now, just in case there's any more questions. So like Sarah said about getting feedback, we have organized some mentors as well for this competition, kind of based partly on what Sarah did with Iron Viz, only probably not as glorious, but we do have some great mentors who are willing and able to help give feedback to your Viz. It's a bit more of a manual process than Sarah had organized, but basically, if you go to this Google document, and there will be slots on the Google document, and the slots will be filled with a meeting link. And then, so what you will do is you will take them, and there will be directions on the spreadsheet, so you don't have to remember this, but there will be a meeting link in each slot. So you will take that meeting link and you will put it into your calendar, at that appropriate time, and then you will put your initials in that slot to let other people know that you have taken that slot. And so that's going to be available from September 28th to 30th. So that's the 3 days where the mentors have graciously volunteered their time. So we thought the 28th to the 30th gives you some time to kind of get into the data and have a feel for it, and have started to develop your visualization, so you have something to get feedback on. And then the 30th allows you to get the feedback and then incorporate the suggestions before you have to present it to, or you have to save it to Tableau Public. Just if you could just book like a day ahead, or at least half a day ahead, just to give us a bit of time, just to make sure that the person who is your mentor sees it there and can pick it up. So just to make sure that everybody is kind of caught up, just in case people aren't in meetings and didn't have time to check and they missed the meeting. So you just make sure that you're at least, maybe a half a day, booking it a half a day ahead. And one more announcement, that the final winners, the 3 finalists will present to the judges live, and then the judges will decide who the winner and the runner-up and the third place are. And this is, we've organized an event for that. This is the link to register for that event as well. And this is recorded, so if you want to get those links later. Yeah. So are there any other questions? Sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
I think I had a question about story flow. So
Sure.
there will be like, it will be like Iron Viz, in that we will be able to not just leave it on Tableau Public. We will present it along for the competition. Like there'll be a presentation component to it.
Okay, so just for the, so most people are not, and you don't have to kind of create it live. like, so it's not kind of as high pressure as Iron Viz. So you'll be able to create it in the comfort of your own workplace or home. And it's just at the end, the 3 finalists will present their final viz to the judges and sort of walk through, you know, how they created it and what they showed in their analysis and what their story was. So they'll have 15 minutes to present their visualization. But no, they won't, it won't be like Iron Viz. Like, you will not have to create a visualization from scratch in front of a crowd of like thousands and et cetera, et cetera.
I guess, but yeah, also with Iron Viz, it seems like because you have the opportunity to present it, it doesn't have to be as self-explanatory because you're presenting it. So it sounds like in this competition, it really has to be self-explanatory without someone being there to explain it.
Well, it's kind of exactly the same as Iron Viz, because only the 3 finalists get the opportunity to explain their viz. So everyone, to get to be a finalist, you first had to submit one that you couldn't talk over. So I think it's a wash that way. But like Candy said, you don't have to create it live in this case. But it's the same as Iron Viz in that only the finalists do get to explain it, but no one else does. Just like Iron Viz, basically.
I guess I never thought about the before the finalist part. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
I think you maybe look at some entries from the Iron Viz video competitions on Tableau Public to get an idea of like maybe the approach to take. I know a lot of people choose to do that long form visualization so they can fit everything in and tell that story, just as you said, like, you know, without being there. So maybe you could use that as some inspiration.
Thank you.
I had a question for Sarah and maybe for anyone else who has done these sort of competitions. Just curious about how much time to expect to sink into it if a person decides. Is it like a 40-hour thing? Is it 8? Is it 100? I'm just ballpark curious how much time one spends.
I guess it depends. So I know with the Iron Viz video competition, it's usually on the participant to go and find the data, and that takes a long time, right? That's for when I did my one on the European cities, that took most of the time because I couldn't find any data. But then the design took far less time. So I think without that kind of part, because you're being provided the data, then hopefully you should have more time to focus on the visualization itself. And I guess it will take as long. It depends, right? It will take as long as it takes, as depending on how much time you have. I think people just make it work. So I know people that have done a viz in a couple of hours. I know people that have done a viz in, 30 days, right? It depends. I know with one of my entries that I did, and I actually got top 10 for this one. I actually built the viz in an evening, and I spent the rest of the time just gathering the data. So just work with the time that you have would be my suggestion, and just make the time where you can. But it's definitely not a competition in that sense.
Right, thanks.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. I was just checking the facts page at the Canada Viz information. No, sorry, the Canada Viz Games 2022 dashboard. So in the facts page, there says the submission period opens on September 26th, and there are a few links to submit the Viz. Those links are, I think, supposedly not active intentionally, right? So there are a few links at the facts page to submit the Viz, as well as for the contestant to access the data set. So I think these links are intentionally not active. I don't know if it's not working for me.
Correct. We're not announcing the data until midnight on the 26th, so that everyone has exactly 1 week to work on it. Without giving away what the data is, to Sarah's point, the data was also picked in such a way that pretty much anyone should be able to tell a story off it as well. So it's not an obscure data.
What exactly is the way to submit the final Viz when completed? Like we publish that at a Tableau public account, and like how do we communicate to you that it's been published?
Hi. So there's a submission form, and the link is on the main Viz that I don't know if you saw the beginning of the presentation with the main Viz that explains the different elements of the challenge. But I just pasted it in the chat. So on that, the third step, there's a link to the submission form. So once you've saved your visualization on Tableau Public, you can go and click on the submission form and enter the information like your name, and then the link to the Viz, the name of the Viz, just so we know where to locate it. And this will let us know where it was saved.
Awesome. Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, there's a few questions in the chat that I'll just read out loud. So Mohammed is wondering about data manipulation, modeling, or wrangling. So we can use whatever tool for that. Yes, you can use whatever tool. And the mentors Google Sheet, if you want to just give me a day or so, I just have to update the Google Sheet with the meeting links, which is not quite ready yet. And then, yes, I will grant, I'm getting a bunch of emails. I'm not sure if you can hear in the background and my email's going nuts, but I will grant you all access as soon as it's ready. So yes, I will grant you access. Yes, you do need to, it says you need to request access, but yes, I'm getting access requests, so no problem. Awesome. Are there any more questions? Great. Well, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you especially for Sarah for coming to help us. I learned a lot from your presentation. A lot of things that I didn't think about would be benefits to participating. And so I'm pretty excited about seeing the submissions.
Sorry, I have one more question about the storytelling. If I compared it to scientific posters with abstracts and introductions and bodies and images and graphs and a conclusion, is that too much detail, you would say, or just you'd still recommend just looking at Iron Viz competitions?
Yeah, I would look at the Iron Viz. Well, maybe Sarah can clarify, but I think the point is that the visualization tells the story. So it's about having the visualizations sort of in an order that makes it obvious as you move through the story. Sarah, did you want to maybe elaborate on?
Yeah, Candice, I think you're right. There's little techniques you could apply perhaps. So maybe rather than showing a chart with a title like, I don't know, participants by country, let's say, you could word that as a sentence. So like maybe Canada had the most participants or something like that, and try and build that narrative in wherever you can. So you don't have to kind of describe every little thing, but just calling out the things that are important or the things that are interesting. And you could also use things like annotations to help with that too. Does that help?
Yes, helpful. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
And Rashid has posted in the chat too, if people want to pick off that link, the top 10 Iron Viz 2022 qualifiers. So examples of the visualizations that got noticed for Iron Viz, just as examples of the criteria, how they met the criteria and such. Awesome. Great. So one more call for questions. Is there any more questions?
I also wrote my email in the chat in case you don't have any questions now, but you think of something later on. You could always write me an email and I'd be more than happy to answer you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you again, everybody, for attending, and thank you to Sarah for presenting and giving us some information on competing. And thank you to everybody who is helping in the background. Rashid and Adrian and tons of people on this call are volunteering their time to, Fuyo, Kirk and I are volunteering our time to serve as mentors. So we're super excited to see your visualizations. And I want to thank Dima has put a ton of work into this. So I would just want to thank everybody who's working in the background as well. That's absolutely, Danilo, to bring this all together. Everybody has yeah. So we're pretty excited about this competition, and we're really super looking forward to seeing your visualizations. And if I forgot to mention anybody, I super thank you. Believe me, this Rome is not built in a day, and everybody, there's been a lot of work put in on this. It's awesome. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So thank you all for coming, and thank you all for your keenness and interest in this. And we're super looking forward to your visualizations. And hopefully we'll see you all again back here on the 9th of November when we see who the finalists are. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Candy.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.